transparent.
You get what you get, right?
Yeah, we had, it was my fault, we had this addition. Because Pam didn't, the kitchen wasn't, the kitchens weren't very big. So I said, hey, I can fix that. 2,600. That's not my fault. I should have kept it down. I wasn't thinking about the cost.
I think ours is 20 by. What is the thing other than 2 hours? Yeah. So. I seen are they gonna set up on the courthouse lawn or are they gonna? They do it. It'll be nice. Hey, Alex, good morning, how are you?
I'm here.
How are you? I'm good.
I haven't heard from you in a while.
You get a strawberry basket?
Trying to not bother me. Usually better
And
that
when
way.
the weather clears
I can't miss that. I can't wait. I can't wait.
We called them pre-ordered yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, well, that was.
Didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, I put them on the sign for pre-ordering.
Where am I?
Do you really run it out?
Yeah, we're talking about this building.
You just figured it.
Hey, I shut my eyes on I live in Indiana Wire.
Did you, shut that door also? I thought that's what I saw that for sale sign. Oh, man. I was just saying.
But. He was in town. But I met him out there. It's just stupid.
You know, my brother.
He's giving me a swing or roll.
Tessa, this is Matt. I'm on here. Can you hear me? Hello?
Are you there, Matt?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Matt, we're waiting on Shane to get here and then we'll get started.
Okay.
Well, it started with when we put it up there, so. Yes, double to see if we can make
It's not my car. Trail, parking, and then the Echo Park. I don't know what goes on. But, you know, another year goes by and it'll be winter and they can't do anything, and it'll be another year getting wet. And I just feel like nothing's happening. Got all my medicine and stuff. If I have to get low on sugar, I carry this. I hate carrying it, I feel like I'm carrying a person. You don't have any. So you have to carry it. I can get higher or low. Sometimes I get low, so I get it up. And if you get high, you get more extra.
All right.
Yeah.
You ready? Yep. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. All right. Start with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have one item on the agenda to start with, Paige. So, did you have a presentation? Or are you here for consulting or?
I can just remind you of the options that you have related to ARPA.
Yeah, please.
So you have a total county allocation of about 5.4 million roughly. The final rule of the American Rescue Plan Act passed in January, and it said that you can use up to 10 million, you know, whatever your allocation is, up to 10 million for the provision of governmental services. So you can use the entire 5.4 million for the provision of governmental services. The benefits of designating your whole allocation to that is that you will have less stringent reporting requirements, because the provision of governmental services just basically means you can spend it on what you would normally spend your county funds on, including, you know, normal day-to-day operating costs, roads and bridges, public safety, updating cybersecurity or putting in place cybersecurity. So again, it's less stringent reporting requirements. The other categories that you can use this for would be public health and economic response. So basically that's addressing and mitigating COVID-19. And those are specific things that you can do there. Premium pay for essential workers, that's very specific. Now, you can provide bonuses to your employees under the provision of governmental services, and again, less stringent reporting, and you don't have to follow all the specific criteria that's under the premium pay category. And then, of course, the water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure category. So again, just to recap, you can allocate your full amount, or roughly 5.4 million, to the provision of governmental services, which is basically anything that you would be spending your monies on now. If it's going to fall outside of that, then you have to try to put it into one of those other 3 categories of expenditures. Now, you do, before you can spend any of this money, you have to have a plan that's approved by the council. It is recommended that the council and commissioners work together to develop this plan, but in the end, it's the council that will approve it. I have some counties that actually have the council and commissioners approving the plan together, which is fantastic. So again, you should be working together on building that plan. So you have to have the plan in place, and the council has to approve an additional appropriation to spend the monies, or you can budget it into the normal 2023 budget process. When you develop your plan, you're going to want to have the project description, the estimated cost, and the estimated time frame that you're going to spend the monies. You will have until the end of 2024 to at least obligate it on a project, and you have to have it all spent by the end of 2026. So that's the framework we're looking at. There's no hurry to put the plan in place. A lot of people were panicking, thinking they had to have a plan in place by the end of 2021, and that's just not so. It just is that you can't spend it until you have a plan in place, and you can amend the plan at any time. So again, it should be a very thoughtful process, prioritizing projects, what's important to you, to your community. You are able to provide money transfers to other local government entities. If you're working with another governmental entity, you're able to do that. So again, those are kind of the guidelines surrounding developing the plan.
I have a question. It has to be spent by 2026. So does that mean you have to be under contract?
Yeah, when they say it has to be obligated by the end of 2024, you're basically under contract at that point.
Okay.
It has to all be out of your account by the end of 2026. So 2024 is really the biggest deadline. You've got to know what you're going to spend it on, and it has to be a project that's well on its way. If it's not, you're going to have to repay that back to the federal
So it
government.
has to be totally out of your account?
Yeah, by the
Okay.
end of 2026, you should not have any monies left, or you will have to repay the treasury.
So what you're saying is it can be amended till 2024, but after that.
Yes,
You're committed.
yeah, there's no way to amend after that because you would be committed, you're correct.
On the infrastructure, are we allowed to spend that money on roads? You
So-
said water, sewer,
So if you do it under the provision of governmental services, the revenue loss category, yes, you can spend it on roads, bridges. That infrastructure category is a separate one that's just water, sewer, and broadband, but you can get around that by, if you're spending it on your county roads and your county bridges, you can do that just out of that revenue loss category that I started out talking about, governmental services.
Have we received the first part of it or some,
You may have received the second already, have you done? It should have been in May, but they could be running behind, they were running behind last year.
so soon, if not now?
Soon, yes.
All right. Do we have to have a plan for the entire $5.4 million before we spend any of it?
No, you just have, if you only have a plan right now of $1 million, just make sure that that plan is approved, and then you can add to that plan as you go. You just have to make sure whatever you're spending, that plan was approved
By the county?
by the council and commissioners, if you
Working
want to
together. I'm
here.
holding. That makes
But yeah,
sense.
at least at minimum, the council.
I misunderstood that. I thought we had to have it all before we could spend it.
No, because you can amend as you go. You just can't spend it until you have that written plan and an additional appropriation by the council.
Is there a format, a recommended format? I mean, it sounds to me like we need to come up with the ideas and how do you develop the plan?
Yes, we
So-
can do that. Baker Tilly can write the plan for you. There's actually examples of plans all over the state. You can just Google and some of the county plans will just pop up. I know Ohio County just passed their plan recently. So, or, I mean, we're happy to write it as well. It's pretty simple. The components are usually an executive summary. Where did the money come from? What is your overall intended use of the monies? And then just listing out each project and the estimated cost and the estimated time frame. That's really the components of the plan. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. Some of the larger counties, like Hamilton County, it's pretty elaborate, many pages long. It doesn't have to be that. You just have to spell out what you're doing.
That's pretty simple.
Yeah, it's not. And again, you can continually amend it, just add on pages as you amend.
So how does that work, as far as appropriate money, so money's in the fund, so you know,
Yeah.
it'll go through, you approve it, so it'll go through two readings, I'm assuming. And
However, you normally approve additional
and
appropriations.
just,
It's just-
it operates the same way.
Yeah, it's the same way, but I will tell you that the money has to be spent directly out of the ARPA fund. You cannot transfer the monies to general or anything like that. If you want to reduce appropriations in general and shift those appropriations over to the ARPA fund, you can certainly do that. Like, instead of paying for jail costs out of general, pay for them out of ARPA. You can do that because you can use it for the provision of governmental services, which means you can use it for pretty much anything.
Anything lawful.
Yeah, but just make sure you spend it directly out of ARPA. Do not transfer those monies.
And it has to be in the plan.
And it has to be in the plan, right? So if you are gonna take out a chunk of operating costs out of general, make sure you specify that in the plan. We are, you know, for instance, 1 year, we're gonna pay for all jail operating costs out from the general fund. That could be a plan. So it really just depends on what you want to do. I see a lot of counties using it for roads and bridges because that's very needed right now, and it's hard to get monies for bridges, so, but again, that's.
So you can put everything in a plan, but it doesn't mean you have to.
You can amend it, right?
Just
Until
amend it.
2024.
Yes.
After 2024, it has to be set in stone.
Yeah, so you can put an initial plan together for the whole 5.4 million, and then if you change your mind later, yes, just up to the end of 2024.
The end of 24 or beginning.
Is when you have to have it all obligated, so it's basically set in stone at that point.
At the end or the beginning of the year.
The end of 2024.
So we could set up a plan to where we're gonna theoretically, let's just say, we would set up a plan where we're gonna pay all of our sheriff's department expenses for the next 3 years out of this fund.
Yes, you could.
And that would.
Oh, now you can't say that.
I'll start from the beginning.
All right.
No, I won't. Other questions?
So we need to make a list of the things that we'd like to include in that.
Yeah, yes, you should. Just do some brainstorming, make a list. If you want us to review it to see if it fits in the criteria, we're happy to do that. But there's really no need for you to pay us to review it if it's the provision of governmental services, because you know what services you're providing now. That's why I'm saying that's the simplest category and the less restrictive. But then if you go outside of that and you want to use it for something that you wouldn't typically do, like helping out a municipality or helping out a township, then we're gonna have to put it in one of those other categories, and it's gonna require more stringent reporting requirements, which I'm not saying that you don't, to avoid that. I'm just saying, just keep in mind. I want you to also keep in mind, there are some counties that are giving it to like non-for-profits to do things with the money. If you give it to what we call a sub-recipient to do something with the money, you have to monitor that sub-recipient and make sure they're following the guidelines. If they don't, it comes back on you. So that came out recently that it's kind of a warning, if you give it to a non-for-profit to say, to construct a building, you will have to monitor that subrecipient and make sure they're following the guidelines. So that's a whole nother layer of reporting that you would have to do. Now, that doesn't apply to contractors. If you pay a contractor to improve a bridge, that doesn't apply to that. I'm talking about a true subrecipient where you're giving money to someone to do for a purpose, a specific purpose.
Okay. All right, thank you, Peg. So.
Hey,
so-
Charlie,
Go ahead.
Charlie, this is Matt. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, we have like, put a preliminary list together. If someone wants to write this down, these are some projects that, we as county commissioners and also some, council members have expressed. The courthouse windows, we actually had allotted some bond money to do the courthouse windows, but, have since found out that that's going to be no ways near enough money to replace those windows. So that was one of the things on the project list. Also, we had the fairgrounds projects that are currently being explored and in review. We had the paving at CSL. The one that we kind of have already committed to and would need a plan for pretty quick because we were going to pay it out of that money was the wiring upgrades to the jail and the annex. And Tessa can get you the exact figure of what that contract amount was. We really need to find some kind of a building, at least for the health department, if we're not going to do that other deal with buying the two buildings side by side. We do still need to explore some kind of building for the health department to free up that space for the prosecutor's office. And then the next three things worries me a little bit because of some of the conversation I just heard about giving to a subrecipient and then us having to monitor it. And those are basically the Hayden Sewer, Campbell Sewer, and JNRU. Those are basically, all three of those right now are having some money issues. And I know me as a commissioner really doesn't want to see Jennings County in the sewer business. So I was hoping that we could do something to all three of those to, at least ensure that they're going to be able to continue. But it kind of worries me about having to monitor them being a subrecipient. So I guess you could put big question marks on those three projects. And then obviously the final thing would be if there is any money left. Obviously I would like to see us spend it in extra paving throughout the county. I know the need is huge, and we've been getting the grants. Randy Fry's been helping us, get extra paving money, but it's still the need is far more than the revenue that we have to keep up with county roads. So obviously if there's anything left, I'd like to see us spend some there. So that's the initial list that I have.
Were there dollar estimates on any of those?
We were around $1.5 to $2 million, I know, on the fairgrounds to do all those upgrades out there. And I'm thinking the wiring upgrades for the jail and the annex, that's not an estimate. That was there's actually an approved contract for that, which Tessa probably could find that exact amount. And then on the rest of them, there's just been a preliminary throw out guess, I guess, from the engineers on the courthouse windows. They're saying somewhere around $1 million on it, and then there are no dollar estimates on the rest of it from my end. I think Mike Girth may have the one on the CSL paving. I know we talked about it the other day, and it was one figure, and then it went to a different figure, and then it went back to another figure. So I don't know where we're at with that. So I won't speak on that one.
Matt, Nate's in the crowd. Nate, do you remember what that bid was on the wiring?
That was 106 and some change for the wiring.
106,000.
106,000.
Between 106 and 107, I don't know the exact.
And the fairground is 1.7.
1.7.
The drainage.
Well,
The water, the storm, the front parking lot, the fence and the woods.
and as far as the health department goes, you're looking at a building, right? But you don't have no numbers on that.
The windows were 925.
I understand we'll need to replace one of our ambulances, probably next year. They're pretty expensive. I think we're looking at 300,000 for a new ambulance.
Probably more than that. He runs some numbers, it's in the 450 range, I think is the last one.
Wow.
Does anybody have anything on JNRU? What kind of money we're looking at out there?
Do you mind?
No.
Haven't been involved.
Talking about,
I don't know if Mike heard, he's on there.
Yeah, he's on there.
So I guess my question is, why is Hayden and Campbell not self-sufficient? I mean, they put new sewer systems in, did they not set their?
I haven't been aware of Campbell needing any money. What I'm aware of out there is they can't get nobody to serve on the board. All the board's about ready to quit that we got, because they can't get no help. But
Actually,
money-
there is an issue with Campbell. It was made aware to me that they're running so tight on money that they can't even pay the state for that last audit that they had. I think they actually have a judgment or something against them for about $30,000 for the last state audit that they had. So, like I said, the Hayden sewer, I was contacted by Pat Sullivan, and he said the issue out there is they have to pay for a bunch of locates basically for they're getting high-speed internet or something out there, and basically the sewer project that they just did, now all of those need to be remarked, and it was going to cost them, they're thinking somewhere around $30,000, and they wouldn't really have any choice but to pass that on to
I think they could get a grant for that, because with that, Freedom, there was grant money to the school for that broadband. Do you know what the JNRU, do you know what kind of money we're talking about, Matt?
I don't know on JNRU at this point. I know I've attended one of those meetings, and I mean, we're still in the preliminary stages on it. So what I would recommend is like what we were talking about earlier. I probably would move to do this in governmental services, and then work on this plan a little bit over the next few months to get things more finalized. But the only thing that we actually are committed to right now is the wiring upgrades for the jail and the annex. So if we could, I mean, my recommendation would be to move it over to the governmental services and then get some kind of a plan in place and get it approved for the wiring upgrades at the jail and the annex. And then that, obviously buys us a little more time to work on the numbers and the specifics of all the other projects. I'm a little bit concerned on the Hayden sewer, Campbell sewer, and JNRU now because of basically I was enlightened by that we're going to have to oversee that also, which probably not a bad idea, given the fact that they're kind of in the situations that they might be in now. But I don't know whose wheelhouse that would fall under to monitor that. So I think we need to have some further discussion later about those bottom three.
So would that fall back on the county? If they fail, that would fall back on the county, right? So that'd be the commissioners, right? Would have to oversee that,
Unfortunately,
right?
that's how I think it works. But I don't want to get in the sewer business myself. I mean, the government forced us to do those projects and it's gonna come back to bite us.
I know you don't want to get into the sewer business, you could be forced to get into.
What would be forced, yeah.
If there are, in regards to the sewer entities, if there are projects that they need help with to get done, I could be in support of maybe some of those things, but if it's operating costs that are driving them into a negative situation, I would be, I mean, they need to correct that. I don't think we can, I mean, if we're talking about operating costs, then we're talking about something this year and next year and next year and forever. So that's, you know, I would hopefully think we're looking at something that's like an injection of cash that fixes a problem because they're project related, not because they're operating at a deficit on an annual basis.
I think, Charlie, I think on the JNRU, I mean, I think that one's gonna fall under a project because there's some pretty big projects that need to be done there to get that thing back into compliance with. On Hayden and Campbell, I think those are gonna fall more into what you're saying as operating costs. On Hayden, I think they've been responsible and stuff all along. I don't think that they're just trying to collect enough per sewer tap to stay basically, you know, in black ink, I guess. But then they were hit with this deal having to mark basically every tap for the installation of fiber. And I don't think that they were anticipating that big lump sum. I know, yes, there was a grant for the installation of the wiring itself, but it didn't include actually marking all these taps. So it didn't fall under the grant, according to Pat Sullivan, but we'll check more on that. And then Campbell, typically I would agree with you on, I wouldn't want to give to, you know, for basic daily operating expenses, but on Campbell, I know that there's just so many extremely poor people with it being right there in the town of Butlerville. Really the only way a sewer district can basically increase revenue is obviously to increase tap fees. And I don't think that they're having a real successful time of collecting what they're collecting now. So if you increase fees, it's just going to make the problem worse. So I don't know. We may have to look at that one. Like I said, I know I agree with you. I want to be sure whatever we do, we're being responsible, but we also want to be sure that whatever it takes to try to keep these sewers operational is done, because ultimately it's going to fall back on the county anyway. So I think there just need to be further discussion on those.
One thing I'd like to see, Matt, is if somebody could check into how you could turn it over to, if North Vernon would be interested, because they're already hooked up receiving all the sewer from Butlerville. And just let them take care of that problem.
I know that's been discussed.
Matt, this is Alex. Just to follow up on your point about the sewer districts, I have a concern that I'd have to look into it and consult with Baker Tilly. I don't think we can spend those funds on sewer districts. Just at first glance, I don't know how we could do it.
We could do it. You'd have to, like Charlie said earlier, you'd have to do that money a little differently.
It's not a county, you know, they'd be a sub-recipient, so we'd have to monitor that, which is not the end of the world. But
what I'm saying is, if you say
it's not, we can't provide, the county doesn't provide those government services. It's JNRU and Hayden and Camp Township. So whether or not we spend that money, that I don't know that we can do that. So maybe Paige can help us with that.
So yes, I agree. You could not do this under the provision of governmental services, because these are not counties. sewer or it's not, it's a sewer district, that's not a county sewer district. You could maybe do it under the infrastructure with the water, sewer, broadband, that category, but then it's subrecipient. Or you could pay for the project
That's
yourself,
what I'm talking about. You pay for the project yourself.
A project, but not operating. expense.
but that, I think that puts some liability on you, you're not, you know. So, yeah, I think there's some issues perhaps with that, but you cannot do it under the provision of governmental services. Now, you can provide monies to taxing districts, but that's subrecipient again. So you just have to know that you're gonna have to monitor how they're reporting, and really it falls to the auditor's office, because when you get audited and you have a subrecipient, they're gonna go look to see if that subrecipient did the proper reporting. If they did not, it falls to the auditor's office of the county as a whole.
I don't want to, but you might be forced to, what I'm saying. If it comes
Well,
down.
but if we're forced to, the county has to take it over, that's one thing. That's one thing, but if it gets into the subs, I don't know if just,
Okay, I agree with you.
I don't know if the county wants to be in the business of overseeing these subs.
Is this falling in the line, is this falling in the line of giving money to non-governmental units that that's not in our purview kind of thing? I mean,
Still gonna be a subrecipient.
right, I know, but I'm saying that's the I mean,
I mean, we give money to the townships every year, don't we? And fire departments, I think it would be something similar to that. It's just.
And if it's something, I think there's something in the rule that if it's less than 50,000 and you're giving it to like a fire department or something, there's less reporting requirements. It sounds like this is gonna be something more than that.
but this may be an issue that we discuss at budget time when we're talking about what we budget out of general fund. And maybe not out of this fund.
That's what I was thinking.
Because this may be something that's ongoing too. It may not be, I mean, this problem may still exist long after these funds are expired, gone away.
You don't think there'd be money through the state if one of them failed though?
Yeah,
I think
that's
they
right.
help you out.
You're probably right, yeah.
I mean, they're not gonna let that many people go without sewer.
Well, here's the problem too, that they don't have an active board, from what I understood Matt to say. Campbell Township, I live in Campbell, I'm in Garland.
I think they only got like 2 people that's.
Right, and so if that board fails, then I do think it falls back to the county.
All right. But in the bigger picture of things, we've got 3 things that have dollar numbers assigned to them. The windows, the fairgrounds project, the wiring upgrade, that's 2.8 million total out of a 5.4 million project total. So, the CSL paving and the health department, those could be both big numbers, but I don't think it total 2.6 million. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what you're looking at for the health department, but so, I mean, we're still a ways away from the $5.4 million, I guess is.
Well, we can eat 1 million of it in roads like that. I mean, that would be gone in no time.
And that's actually the number I had for extra paving throughout the county was, I would like to see us spend 1 million of it because obviously the need is there.
Should the ambulance be in this list?
What are we looking at? Mike, do you have any idea what we're looking at for CSL paving?
You asked me a question, Charlie?
No, Mike Harris, I thought. I'm sorry.
He's there.
You're probably looking at, I mean, the quote he had was $1.5 million. I don't know if is Mike there?
Yeah. Is that
Is that
right?
right, Mike?
Is that the number?
Yes,
1.5?
that's everything. That's all the remaining roads that aren't new. That we're gonna ask you to take.
So that was part of it,
That's,
of us taking.
yes, there's 20 miles of roads that we're gonna ask you to take today, 8 miles of brand new. It's 12 miles of new bearings work. This is supposed to complete everything.
But it's not saying that all the 11 remaining miles need paved today.
Oh,
I'm
no.
not saying that.
Do you have copies of that, Tim?
Pardon?
Do you have copies of that for us?
I didn't bring that copy.
Cap?
Give them that.
So we can spend 2.6 million pretty
quick.
fast.
Pretty fast, John.
Yeah.
You can spend it like.
We're gonna walk you through our roads. Our turn, we're gonna talk about this. And then Tim's gonna
Okay.
show you.
You want me to
get
go
your
ahead?
back. We can sure.
Yeah.
Do you want me to make some extra copies?
The plan would be that the county would then take over the roads going forward.
Correct. Correct. So we all know the history of CSL, and I'm not going to elaborate on that, but you know, over the last 6 years, the county has taken over approximately 14 miles of roads already. And in that time frame, they've collected about $77,000 in MDH funding throughout the years of those 7 years. So with the remainder of the 19 roads remaining, 8 of which were just recently paved,
Yes.
that's only giving you 11 that will have to be repaved, and it's nowhere near going to be $1 million to repave those. But if you take the remaining roads of the, what's left on the inventory and collect those into yours, you guys will be pulling in $106,000 additional funds in your MVH and local streets and roads project funding every year that you get from NDOT.
Yes,
Or from the
yes,
capital, excuse me.
yes, tax money, right?
Yes. Well, I'm not gonna call it extra money because you are assuming the maintenance of those roads, but it is an additional fund source. So the way this works is the request will come from the county commissioners to take over those roads after it was released by Mike and his management group. Then you would add that to your inventory and you get, last year in 2021, you collected $3.59 million based on your 664 miles of road, I think. Yeah, 3.59. So if you add those others, you're going to be increasing by $106,000 a year at today's rate. So that rate will probably increase. Sometimes it goes down depending on the motor vehicle tax, but traditionally that's increased.
Yeah, it'll increase again in July.
On the $106,000 a year, okay?
Yes.
I view that as additional funds that the county will get in total, okay? That we otherwise wouldn't get. But we will spend it. That's not extra money. That is money that we're going to have to put back into those roads. Maybe not this year, but eventually that money will get put back in that road.
Or
Those
roads
roads.
otherwhere in the county until it's
Those
needed.
roads. I mean, those roads are going to be, they're a liability. I mean, we're going to have to put money in them, whether it be repaving them 6 or 7, 9, 10 years down the road, or snow removal or whatever. It will cost us that money, but CSL doesn't get that money presently.
That's right. It's
And
money
so
lost.
it's a burden on the residents of the county to maintain those roads without having that $106,000.
Correct.
So.
And Charlie, of the 20 miles, 8 miles are brand new. You will collect money on those for 10, 12 years, whatever the life of those are. Those are brand new. And that's, we've got $1.25 million HOA funds invested in those 8 miles.
Okay.
And that's what we're looking to get help with, so we can continue the progress and the quality of life. I'm not gonna be able to raise the funds to finish those last 20 miles, so we're running out of people to take to court. Everything that we've done out there in the blight cleanup and roads and so forth have all come from lawsuits. But we collected about 75% of that, and there's not enough to finish these roads. And if I finish them, if I was able to finish them, I don't get anything back from the state.
Right.
Right.
It only makes sense if we're gonna take that, is to give us some money reimbursements, what we're asking for today. Again, we have a list of quality of life and things like playgrounds and clubhouse repair, which we have a Boys and Girls Club now. We have a whole range of things that we can do besides just lawsuits and doing roads. So that's what we're asking.
It's the only stipulation for us to take them over, they gotta be already paid.
They have to be what?
Don't they, isn't there a stipulation?
Their
when we take
NDOT does not
roads over?
require any, we verified that with the director via email. I think I copied Matt on that email. There is no hazer, it's considered a hazer. There is no minimum hazer rating for a county to take over a road.
Shane, of the 20 miles, 8 miles, as I said, restated is brand new. The other 12 miles are in pretty good shape. A lot of them I had some deep patching, maybe a football field, 100 yards, where it was, the road was fine except for a 100-yard patch. Those have been wedged and paved over. So you might, there's only maybe a mile of road out there that probably needs attention in the next 2 years. And they're very low volume traffic. So these road paving, you could spend your money on these over the next 8, 10 years.
I'm confused. What was the $1.5 million for?
That was a quote that Mike received from a local contractor.
I went out to Ameris.
Finish paving all,
I said, if I want to finish everything else I got in here now,
11 miles, basically.
and understand we have trash truck problems, and this, I won't get into the weeds here, but we have to go down and do what they call deep radiuses, where the trucks have got these big upheavals, because it's not solid, so we have to dig down 6 foot for a long stretch, build that back up. We've done it several places, and it's worked very well. So there's several of those out there that increase our cost over normal paving.
So you're familiar with CCMG, Community Crossing Matching Grant. I don't think it would be wise to take 1.5 million and just spend it to pave the roads now. If you could take the additional 106 that you're going to be getting in through the local motor vehicle fund, you can match that with the CCMG grant and get $400,000 to pave $500,000 worth of roads with your your 1.6. And the 400 you'll have $500,000. So in 2 years, before the time runs out, you'll have that money spent. So you won't need to spend all that at once. And that was, Matt was talking about paying or spending 1.5 million. I think there's some varying conversations about that, because I think Mike would like to be paid for that, those roads that he's recently paid. That's where
Yeah,
that
that's well,
expenditure would come from.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's why we're here. Yeah, we're here to say, we've already turned over, you've collected almost $500,000 in funds from the first 14 miles, which were turned over. But I've got $1.25 million. I need that money for quality of life improvements, which we passed out a list. And so instead of this time turning over the last 20, we're asking that you reimburse us some of that 1.25 million that we've invested. So I have more monies to continue on with the improvements out there.
So what are you asking for?
We'd like $1 million.
Will you be paying $1 million for the 20 roads?
Yeah,
The 19 point.
and you would get your money back, not a profit, but you would being reimbursed by the state. And that's what that layout shows. All those miles over the life of them, we figured you're gonna get somewhere around $2.2 million. You're gonna spend $1.5 million and probably repay it.
So we're gonna spend you.
The funds that we have coming in at CSL, we'll keep our doors open, we'll mow, we'll do all the things that need to be done. We can do that out of the people that are paying their regular HO dues. But if we're gonna continue the progress, continue blight cleanup, the Big Lake's got a major issue, and it has to be, that's the centerpiece of the community. If we're gonna put a new playground, if we're gonna expand the bait house, which is our grocery store, which is heavily used. The clubhouse where the Boys and Girls Club are now, it needs a new roof, paved parking lot, go on and on. We have them listed. If we're gonna continue those things, which is what we wanna do, I believe, as a community, then $1 And we'll need some help now, because every penny we've had so far, we haven't got one penny from outside. We got it all from lawsuits. So that's why we're here.
Clear as mud.
It's pretty clear. So, and when it came to cleaning up out there, you didn't ask, Eric, when did pay it? You gotta pay.
I paid back $75,000 into the general fund, Jennings County. I kicked back money.
I figured
Because Marie would run out of money, and Marie's been a great help, and she run out of money budgeted to her for cleanup. She may have 5 tear downs through the county or 4 tear downs, she would have to wait till January. I paid for them. I said, we don't want to stop the progress. So it's $73,000, I think is what we paid in.
So where's the commissioners at on this, Matt?
Matt's dealt with it more than I have, he can probably answer you.
Matt, where are you at with this request?
Well, I guess right now I'm a little bit confused. I understand that of course, I don't have the paper in front of me because I'm not there, but I assumed that the 1 million that we were talking about earlier, back when we first started talking about this, that this was a reimbursement that we were going to try to recover back, by taking the roads for the county, we were going to actually get the money back. But then I think now we're talking about he wants $1 million back. And then it's also to take the rest of the roads is going to be about another 1.5 million to repay those. So that's 2.5 million. Is that right or am I wrong?
I think it's 1.5. I think that's including both.
No, you're understanding the way I understand that.
It's 2.5 for the total project.
Yes, if you're gonna go out and repay.
You're gonna go out and repay all those
But
roads.
as Tim was saying, we don't have to repay all those roads at one time, and then we talked about those matching funds getting.
Right,
But also those matching funds have to be spent everywhere else in the county, keep that in mind.
true. You
You can't just take that community crossing and just go out there and
Right,
spend
right.
it. It's gotta do your whole district.
But it is gonna give you 20 miles of new roads in that fund that you start collecting on immediately.
Do we have the capability as a county highway department to clear those roads because we have to also look at, do we have the resources to do that, or do we need to add employees? All of those
It
things.
would be Matt's district, he could, but I think he's okay to take on another 20.
Let me answer that question. I wanted to address that earlier. I'm going to tell you right now, we are stretched extremely thin on the roads that I have now. So I'm going to tell you, whatever we do here, I am going to need a minimum of 2 additional employees, because the snow removal in CSL alone, if we do all those roads, it's tough, because you can't travel at the speeds that you normally do out here in the rural areas because of the mailboxes. We've tried that before, and we end up wiping out a bunch of mailboxes, and then it's a disaster. So I'm going to tell you that we are going to have to budget for 2 additional employees to cover, the additional. Well, actually, I'm not going to say they're going to be completely because of CSL, because we're actually kind of a little bit short out here anyway. I think maybe 1.5 employees would need to be added for the additional CSL. And then the other half is just because we're short anyway. But I do think that is something that's going to come down the turnpike, because I'm going to need 2 more people.
Okay, Matt.
I agree with you, Matt.
On an average, Matt, what does a county employee make, so that we just know what we're adding to our cost?
I would figure $50,000 per employee.
I'm sorry.
Get insurance.
That's $60,000.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Charlie?
50 is probably minimum, fully loaded.
Tax and insurance.
We hire a private contractor to do snow removal, and I budget 25,000 a year for it. Sometimes I'm a little, sometimes I'm over, but 25,000 has been a pretty good average for my 6 years. That's what it costs for a private contractor to do 100% of my 20 miles.
Could we do that, Matt? Could we hire a private contractor just to do snow removal for Squire?
Well, I can't answer that question. Yeah, anything is possible, but the thing of it is I haven't been out there after a private contractor has done it to see, what level they did it at, if it was, acceptable or possibly even better than what the county would have done. I don't know. I can't answer that question.
It's equal to,
Are they laying salt down for that?
yes. Yeah. Robert Luttrell runs my maintenance work for the state highway for 30 years doing it, and he leads and tells me what he wants, and what to put first, and so. But yeah, I think we're comparable.
Is that somebody local, Mike?
Robert, yeah, he lives in Swire. He's
I
at
mean, the contractor that did this.
Morris.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
they've been doing it for 5
Okay.
years.
If I could interject one more, one thing that makes it difficult with using private contractors is a lot of times they base fees off of, so much for a 1-inch snow, or so much for a 2-inch snow, or so much for a 3-inch snow. Whereas with county highway, if we've got employees, a lot of times we can do pre-treatments. We can go out and hit before a snow event, which ends up saving us a huge amount of money. And then the other thing is we can hit, there may be different areas that get hit harder than others. And that's hard to track if you're trying to use a private contractor. But if you've actually got your own employees that are there 4 or 5 days a week anyways, they just know, well, basically the employees that we have now, I tell them, the problem areas at CSL, we've got one guy, you need to go out there and hit that, really quick, because we've got so many people, the entries, exits, those main roads. It's just hard to tell a private contractor unless, they are accustomed to every road CSL, and they live there and they know exactly what it needs. It's hard to cover that with private contractors, in my opinion, but I mean, I'm willing to try anything.
Here's a concern I have.
But would a private contractor get to it quick?
Is that Bob?
Yeah, I think we're getting off subject.
Yeah, but real quick, I got another question I'll ask you, and you got that. So what happens is, the country squire, if the county don't intervene, you come in and help out with the roads?
Well,
First of all, they can't afford to pay the.
yeah, for the next couple of years, we still have income enough where we might be able to set 150,000 across for a few years, do the most needy roads, but I'm never gonna be able to finish them all. And if I spend all the monies I have on those roads, something has to give in 2 or 3 years. It is the blight cleanup. We're gonna have to stop tearing out old mobile homes. There's not gonna be improvement, the lake, fixing the big lake. I mean, something has to give.
Well, see, that's what
So that's why I'm asking for some reimbursement back. I'm asking for $1 million. We'll take what anything you can give us will help. And it could even be put the money in a separate fund where if I had to ask a committee here, I'm gonna go fix the lake, and they got a $250,000 estimate on fixing it. I want to come out of these funds. I don't mind that at all. I mean, I have the wherewithal in our county to set these funds aside, but I need money for quality to continue. So we all, we want to continue what we're doing here.
So Charlie, what I'm thinking is we started a goal, country squire lakes, to get it back the way it's supposed to be. So how do you say no to it? If you're kind of bringing them back down to where you say, well, we're sorry, we can't help you. We can't finish the project. What we started, what we put our mind together and say we're gonna do. So where do we go from here?
Yeah, I think the end game is that the county is going to own those roads. We're either gonna own them in a year or so, or we're gonna own them 4 or 5 years from now, but we're gonna own those roads, or it's gonna go backwards.
The sooner you own them, the quicker you start.
It's just
receiving
inevitable. I
money.
mean, Mike is telling us they don't have the funds to continue doing. He is living off collecting back fees. and making his improvements off collecting back fees, which he's about done with. So there it is. And we've ignored, we haven't invested in Squire Lakes over 30, 40, how many years? It's time we step up and do it because
Well, we said this.
we have no
already.
choice.
Right, we said this already 5 years ago or whatever. We're stepping up, get Squire cleaned up. So in my opinion, we gotta keep pushing forward. Because if not, we're going right back to where we was at. I
Nobody
don't
wants
want
that.
this.
Nobody wants that.
This is a commissioner's,
Correct.
it's a commissioner's decision on how we go about doing it. But as a council member, I'm willing to fund it. And if we're talking today up to $0.5 million in total.
A little more than I thought.
That's a little, that's a bit more than, it's more than what I thought it would be.
I was thinking it was 1.5.
Yeah. The can be spread out over a period of time, right? So
But I
that,
also think if we've got the money in this, we'd be better now, let's put it off, because we're gonna get ourselves in trouble everywhere else.
I'm glad to hear Mike say something about putting it in a fund, because I'm not comfortable with just saying, here's $1 million. You know, I would be more comfortable with designating the money and to be appropriated as needed, you know?
I'm glad to hear you say that.
Because I think the county needs control of those funds until the purpose for those funds is designated. Whether it be the playground, the lake, whatever, it's not our call, I don't think, you know, it's the people out there that run that place to decide what's the most important when to do it. But
My thinking is Country Square needs to be an asset to our community. Our property values would go up out there, the amount of taxes we collect. Be a liability and just keep going downhill. That's the whole project that you've been working on, is to try to turn that around.
Banks are loaning money on homes out there again, homes are selling everywhere, the times I understand. Property taxes, those lots, I paid 135,000 in taxes, so we spent 90-some thousand in tax sales, and we generated a lot of interest in tax sales. Couldn't give a lot away at Squire, now we go to tax sales, other people are buying. I mean, that's, ourselves have spent 90,000 on tax sales, commissioner sales. Kick back 70,000 community, we put a lot of money out, besides what we've like, but we gotta keep it going.
Right.
all right, Matt, how do you suggest we move forward from here?
Well, obviously, you know, CSL's been pet projects from the start. So I'm in support of it. I would feel more comfortable if we set aside the $1 million into an account and it's overseen and managed and spent, you know, a bit at a time. So I like that idea. And then on the additional roads, I would recommend that we do it over a 3-year period. And however, I agree with Shane that that CCMG money that is spread out over the whole county, but I think we just designate a certain portion of it over the next 3 years to CSL to achieve, the end result of having, all the roads owned by the county and all of them are repaved. So that's how I would proceed. And I think we go ahead and do the project as presented, because it sounds like we're all on board that, we need to keep that project moving forward. And it takes a commitment, and it sounds like we've got the commitment. So let's just move forward with it.
So who works with who on developing the budget and outline of how we're going to budget the $5.4 million, what our plan's going to be? Well, we
What I
have,
understood was that the commissioners came up with, and then the council approved the funding.
She said the council had to do the final approval.
Right, but that it was up to you to come up with a plan or work together as both entities.
we can't submit anything that the commissioners are.
I mean, personally, I think the main thing we need to get is Nate taken care of, because we've already got that thing in motion. We didn't realize we had to have all this done to be able to get them paid.
I say we take it out of general fund and just forget about it. It's
Just do it.
$106,000 because we don't talk about the budget balances. We haven't talked about the significant budget balances we have in lit and general that need to be spent. I mean, we've
Yeah, we
collected
talked
them
about
from
it.
the taxpayers. We need to invest it.
Or let's just do that, let's just move forward that way.
We can vote right now to move, so he can move ahead if we want to.
We'll do it at a regular council meeting.
What'd you say?
Let's do it at a regular meeting.
That's what I was, that's why. Let's get ready for.
It's a special.
I'm not sure
We
what,
can do it at our next
I'm not
meeting.
sure what that meant by the 1 to 3 years. The sooner you take the road, the sooner you start collecting that money.
I think what he said is,
Okay, oh, yeah.
he was talking about the community crossing money spread over 3 years for that area.
But I think
Setting so much
we should
aside.
go ahead and take the road now and move it into our inventory as part of the.
Well, I mean, I think if we're gonna do it, the sooner the better. If we're gonna end up
Yeah,
doing
give me that plan together. You were
Right.
ready to get right now.
It's just a form that you fill out with a page rate and a link that you submit to end up for approval. That's all it is.
I'm ready to do that.
So now, I like that question. So they don't, dig any of our roads back, right?
They don't.
They never do.
They never take roads unless
Never
the
do.
commissioners request there's roads we take,
Okay.
ever.
Ever.
Ever. Straight from the horse's mouth. And I'm not calling her that, but it's
All right, so what?
Don't say that.
Why don't, Matt, why don't you designate somebody from the commissioners to work with somebody from our finance council, from the county council? That would be either me, Mike, or Dave, to try and put a plan together that we can present for approval at some point.
I recommend Charlie. For the council.
I'll recommend that.
I'll second that.
And it sounds like I've been railroaded.
Yeah, I was thinking more like Mike, but he's not here. I'm here. Mike's not physically here. All right.
Well, I don't think it'll be much of a plan if we're gonna do
Appreciate
that. It'll be simple to do. Just move it on.
Well, it's been done already.
All right.
Any more questions for us?
No.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, let's move forward in that direction then. Is that all right, Matt?
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll come together and get something formalized on
I
it.
do have one quick question before you adjourn. What did we decide to go ahead and do with the wiring upgrades for the jail and the annex? Because we're already under contract for that, and I wanted to get that project. Are we just gonna pay for it out of the general fund then, or do we want to go ahead and just put it as a preliminary plan to get it paid for out of this money? I mean, where are we at with that?
I suggest we do it out of general.
Yes. Yeah,
Not the
I
jail
got it.
fund,
All right, and it's the
not the
road,
jail
the
fund.
fence.
Just a
Oh,
general.
the jail fund?
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about rainy day fund.
If
We
either
can do
one,
that too, yeah. Rainy day fund would be fine.
which we got, it's part of that wiring.
Till
for
it's
this
like
building.
tonight.
That's what
Yeah.
that money was raised for. That's what that tax was.
Yeah,
collected for.
rainy day fund probably makes more sense.
Are you guys gonna vote on it?
No,
What, at your next?
at the next meeting.
To do the wiring out of that fund.
Yeah.
Right.
You guys understand that?
Yeah.
We're gonna do the wiring out of the rainy fund. which is
Yes.
The money
Gary's
raised.
got
to
something he
do.
wants.
Right.
So what?
Could I have 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Gary Shepherd wants to.
As long as we keep it 5 minutes.
We got you on time.
I can go on forever.
Appreciate it.
Over the past few years, and I think you guys are aware of it, I've tried to do some security enhancements for this building. We got a 29,000 square foot, 3-floor building, soft target. In today's world, you can pick up anything and look and see what's going on. We've never been able to do it, and I'm asking that we invest some money in doing that to this building. Put a full-time officer at the door, do like I did at the courthouse. I had a grant last year and upgraded all that system over there. And it's about $97,000. Majority of the cost is the $50,000 for the salary and the equipment itself. Walk through with a scanner belt, full time. I called Brett and pulled all of the records of policemen coming down to this building, and I was surprised And how many calls that the sheriff's department handles to come down here for irate people or whatever. So I think if we can invest some money in this, I think it's probably time.
I think it's probably past time.
Well, it is, but, you know, invest in safety and security of everybody in this building and general public. You know, a guy there's a deterrent. Metal detector's good, but all it does is detect metal. It don't detect what's going on. But, it's just something.
Who would that, where would that come, what?
They would come from the sheriff's department.
Be in the sheriff's
And I
department's
spoke
budget.
to the sheriff and Dave Turner, and they're on board with it.
All right.
They're on board to do that.
He'd be a sheriff's
They'll
employee.
be a sheriff's deputy.
Now, I think that's something that needs to be presented in their budget this year, 2023. If they need to start before then, we could do an additional appropriation maybe for this year.
And that was the next question. I had a grant in for it, but the grant I won't find out until October. And there's so many people applying for that grant, the percentage of getting that's probably pretty low. We could use this money to get this started off, and then salary, you know, as it goes on for the years to follow. But I think it's past due. I think it's something we really need to think about.
I'll just say from the lawyer's standpoint, since I go in and out of courthouses all the time, this is the only government building that I know of in the surrounding area that does not have a full-time security officer. And that scares the living crap out of me every time I come to this building. Because I know some of the calls that I have gotten from office holders and employees about individuals in this building. And I just worry about, you know, you see it on the news all the time, so I worry about that from a security standpoint. I agree, it's long past it.
The amount of threats we've had, every office, you know, people come in here, there's a lot of different offices, they're irate already when they get here. The sheriff's been asked to come, and, you know, being in the sheriff's department half my life, I know what those guys are doing. Bad things happen here, they're gonna call somewhere else, you know, they're busy, everybody's short staffed. So having a guy in front of the door is immediate deterrent, plus you got a guy on scene and things go bad. And it's not a matter of if anymore, it's when, you know, it's coming, so.
So if we waited till the 2023 budget, we would have to get that implemented. Is that what you're
No,
saying?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
Okay.
we could do an additional appropriation if they
Okay.
wanted to move forward with it for 2022, but it would have to be in the sheriff's budget for 2023.
Yeah.
I don't want to put it on.
How long would it take you to even get that done, Jerry?
I've already got everything in motion as far as the equipment, and we have the equipment pretty quick. I work with a company in Ohio that puts that stuff out. However long the sheriff would take to get a person assigned, and the rest of it, we can just build it. I'll get you out here how to do it.
You probably just do it right there across from the.
Yeah, just to wait and not offset everybody coming in and out, to be able to control that. Because now, you know, the building, I come in here and I slip down to the basement and I stay there till you guys close. I come into Tessa's office and I just get in that computer. What kind of damage could I do?
Would be good.
So you can bring that information to us our next council meeting.
Yeah, I've got it all right here.
I mean, the hard numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's not, it's not, the original, we started it a few months ago, was $92,000. I've come up with 3,000 or 4,000 more as far as the camera and panic alarms in here to upgrade that. So 97 we can get it started.
What was the total we did for the grant? I don't remember.
92.
So if we get lucky, we might get that.
92 something. Shane, I can't remember exactly.
So I knew it was 90 something. I couldn't remember what it was.
But I think it's time. That's something, you know, a lot of stuff been talked about today, different things.
I personally had almost every department head talk to me about it. I mean, I think it's a good idea.
They deserve protection here, just building to work here. You know, you shouldn't have to come to work and worry about what's gonna happen, who's gonna walk in your office, Matt, any office.
There's other people here besides people who work here too. The citizens are in here paying their taxes and doing things. you know.
It's just, I mean, it's just time. That's all I got.
Okay.
Thanks, Jerry.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
One second.
All right.
All in favor?
Thank you, guys.
How are you?